Hey, what's up, everybody? It's DJ Phanatic Beats, content contributor for liveoffbeats.com. As you can see, it's a special video. I'm in the studio and about to show you basically some markers, how to pretty much put markers on your project, and also, the importance of them, how they can help you kind of find different places in a larger project like this. This is a beat that I did, recently actually, and it's a little more complex than usual. Not too crazy, but I'll show you how to have markers in your project, and also a little trick I do to end the song in FL Studio with the marker as well, and just show you some things with those. And also, I was going to show you in this video, this is another thing I was going to show you, is how you can do like fade outs in your songs in FL Studio, because I remember way back I did not know how to do that. So it's definitely a great way to, if you didn't want to end a beat at, like with chords or whatever, I'll show you two examples. But that way you can have it fade out into like a nice, fade, and you can control it based on exactly how you want it. So the markers are helpful, especially you get lost, in madness. You have like 500 different patterns, and this song, this beat actually isn't too complex. I think it's up to, how many patterns? Looks like 19 patterns, so that's pretty complex, and tons of tracks. So I think it's up to 15 tracks or whatever. So, but yeah, let me show you how to pretty much put markers in your project. There's a shortcut, there's a keyboard shortcut, but another way to do it, the first way to do it is, or why you would do it, is actually, these markers can tell you where you are in your song. And sometimes I can kind of tell based on the tempo that I chose. I know how many bars per verse, and then I know how many pattern, bars per chorus. So I can kind of visually look at it. But markers, they're easy to, put in your project, and they're easy to, move around too. So as you can see, I have one here called chorus, which is also the hook. And I can actually move it around. You just left click and drag it, and it moves based on your snap to grid. I have it set to bar, so it's moving every bar. And you can also right click on it, and you can rename it to whatever you want. You can just rename it hook if you want. Hit enter. And to actually put it on there, make sure your ruler, this is set by default, so it's usually showing on FL Studio by default. Let's say this is like, I don't know, let's say this is a sub hook, and we'll right click and just add marker. We'll just type in what we want, sub hook. There you go. And again, you can left click to move it around a little bit, like that, and you can always delete it like that. And you saw a lot of other features you can do. You can, add time signatures and place a loop area if you want. But what's cool about this also, if you click on the tab and hold down Control, it loops that hook to the next marker. So that's a cool way of, let's say you want to keep going over the hook, and like get a musical idea or some type of you're mixing, because you tend to want to like loop the hook. That way you can focus on different sounds and whatnot. So, and notice, I hit play. I'll let you hear what I did. And it'll loop back here automatically. See? So that's a cool way. Sorry about the fan there. I'm like processing a lot of plugins while recording. So let me turn off a lot of those. So notice you're processing. And that's another thing too. Always keep an eye on this up here when you're doing a lot, in your computer. I have like, the recording video right now. I have the music interface, so I can give you a microphone on this video, and it sounds a lot better to me. And also I have tons of plugins running, so you got to be mindful of that too. So consider that a bonus for this video. And I know some laptops can't handle all of this at once. I had 2 laptops before this and it was struggling. So be mindful of your processor that you get when you have a laptop and you're running all these, you know, processing demanding plugins and whatnot. So anyway, let's get on to the verse. You know, you can, like for instance, I know the verse starts here. This is the hook. Got the breakdown. I think this is the second part of the verse. Yep. So this is the hook again. So you can right click, and the keyboard shortcut I was going to show you, I believe it's Control T. Yep. Hit Control T, or is it Alt T? I think it's Control T, but I don't know why it says auto. Probably because I automatically did. And you can rename it to Hook 2. And I'm curious what Alt T is because I believe I used it before. Ah, okay. So, and that places it over there. Oh, didn't know that. So Alt T, Control T places it where your marker is, where your cursor is, like that. Alt T places it anywhere, and you can kind of, you know, actually it places it at the beginning. You notice that, and you can drag it where you want. So there's the difference. And don't feel scared to experiment with shortcuts because you might discover something that you know, definitely you would love, and it'll help you make music faster and stay organized. So the other trick I was going to show you, I always, like when I first started making music on FL Studio way back, I didn't know how to end the song. I noticed every time, let me delete this. Well, let me remember where it's at, bar 116. The song would just repeat. Like for instance, this is the end. And it'll repeat. I should have. Oh, I have this automation clip. But it'll repeat it right after that. See? And a lot of times it wouldn't end exactly where I wanted it. So let me see if I can undo. Yep. And you can always Control Z undo the markers you deleted too. So I just placed it back there. So a trick I do is usually add a marker. You know, right click in the I think they call it a ruler area, but where you see the bars right here, anywhere in here, you can right click and add the marker, and then drag it to where you want it to end. Like I know these chords kind of, the sounds last a little longer because there's a reverb and all kinds of stuff I did to it, and you want it to end right where you want it. So I'll let you hear what I did. And I played it a little safe by going another bar, so that way I can get the full ending of the song and not just have it cut off abruptly and you lose yourself. So the other thing I was going to show you is a fade out. Notice this down here. It is an automation clip, and it's a master volume automation clip. To create that, you know, let me just delete that and show you. You go to master and you right click on the master mixer and create automation clip. And what that does, it goes across the entire song. Let me make that larger for you. And usually what you want to do first is on this node right here, or dot, whatever, right click on it and copy the value, because that is the value, the default value of the song. And you want to remember that just in case you mess anything up. So always copy that first, because you don't want to have like the song low here and you end up mastering it and you're wondering why you're pushing it so hard to reach a certain level. So it's important to have it where the default is. So anyway, we'll stretch that out. Let me show you how to do a fade out. And you would take this, well, you can add another node, just right click anywhere. And let's say we want the fade like that. It's a pretty quick fade. Let's just hear how it sounds. It might work. It might be kind of abrupt. Let me give you some more. So it's a big difference. It gives it like a, more subtlety, I would think. I would actually do a long fade with this because it's like, you know, like a chill, laid back R&B beat. That way, you know, it'll give it like a gradual fade out like this. And I actually made a mistake of not ending it here. Or you can just do a really sharp one. Like, we'll move this here. And notice how I move that up and down. That's what I meant by accidentally changing the volume. So you can always right click on the node and paste the value, and it remembers what you copied. So that way it's even across the entire song. Very important. So here's a more abrupt fade out. And you can do, you know, experiment with it. Right click on it. You can do fade bends. You bend a middle node and you can do a different type of fade outs like that. It's very, very powerful. You can do little things that make your beats unique. You don't always have to have like I deleted that and do this. Like it was before. You know, have the chords like that. You don't have to just do it like that for every beat. You can do fade outs. You can do like a hard ending where it just ends on the one with, you know, like kicking drums and whatnot, cymbals and whatnot. So you can kind of experiment, you know, with what type of fade out you want for your beats. And also, you know, these markers are helpful, like I said, to keep track of where you are in a beat. You know, you can always get lost, especially when your beats get more complex. And it's a quick way of, you know, also looping from one point to the next. And it's very easy to rename them. You know, you right click on a tab, you can rename them, delete them, or whatever. And it looks like there's some other options here. See, it tells you the exact time where it is. So yeah, look, 57:01, that's cool. And move content left, I'm not sure, I rarely use that, but I can always experiment. But yeah, that's what I mean by experiment. You never know what you discover because there's just so much in these digital audio workstations. So hopefully you found that helpful. You know, I hope that you know, markers become your project, become part of your project, so you can keep track of stuff. And hopefully you learned something with that automation clip I created with the master and how to do fade outs and whatnot. And you know, the main thing that I liked the most about markers was ending, because I got tired of it not letting the reverb or the tail end of the sounds keep going. It would stop right here and go right back, and every song I exported didn't sound complete because I believe I had the wraparound engaged. Let me show you that. Let's say you export this song. Let's go to export and wait, whatever. Let's just do that. And this option right here, leave remainder, what that is right here, notice in your hint panel up here, it says what to do with tail. You want to leave the remainder of the tail. So you want the tail to keep going, especially when you have those type of endings. Not every beat is like that, but there's other options here. You click on it, cut remainder, don't render the tail, it's rendering loops. So, and wraparound is basically the same way. You wrap the rendered tail to the beginning, basically. But leave remainder if you have like a trailing sound, and if you're making something short like a loop or something, you know, you can use either of these options. But if you're really confused on what that is, you can always click here, and they actually have a pretty cool diagram a breakdown of, you know, each of those type of exporting options. So anyway, again, DJ Phanatic Beats, content contributor for liveoffbeats.com. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at DJ Phanatic or Instagram at DJ Phanatic Beats. And keep making great music. Don't be afraid to explore your software. And yeah, do you. Peace.